Hey there, quirky folks! I'm your host, Anna, and today we'll be talking about the return of Gal Gadot in Fast 10. This was something that was always bound to happen. When Fast 9 brought Han back after a car explosion, Gisele was always destined to be brought back as well. It was only a matter of time for when her return in the Fast Saga would suit Gal Gadot, because after leaving the franchise in 2013, she became a much bigger star playing Wonder Woman. So, she had a huge say in when she wanted to return as Gisele. Back in December 2022, rumors suggested that Gadot would soon return, especially after her Wonder Woman gig became doubtful. And Fast 10 wasted no time in bringing her back. Since this is the beginning of the end of the road, every important character of the Fast Saga began to be rounded up for cameos. And as many fans expected, Fast 10 brought yet another character back from the dead. This obviously wasn't the first time, as Letty was seemingly killed in Fast and Furious 4 and remained absent in Fast 5. Then she became a regular since Fast and Furious 6. After that, Owen Shaw presumably died in Fast 6, but was revealed to be alive in Furious 7. But most importantly, Han literally died in a car crash but came back in F9. So now, it's just Gal Gadot who was left. She had already teased a possibility to be back as Gisele, and now it has happened. Towards the very end of Fast 10, the Wonder Woman star returned as Gisele Yashar and surprised everyone. She showed up in a submarine all the way across the world in Antarctica. While Dom, Littleby, and the rest of the crew tried to survive in Portugal, the likes of Letty and Cypher teamed up to break out the agency's prison in Antarctica. Just as Letty began to question the methods of Cypher, she gave her a reassurance that she has a plan. And it was at this very moment when fans got to witness the sweet little cameo of Gal Gadot. But at the same time, her return also made everyone question where she had been until now. Fast and Furious 6 clearly made it seem that Gisele had died on the runway while trying to save Han. So, how exactly did Gisele survive? After seeing her alive and well in Fast 10, it seems very senseless that Dom and his family didn't go back on the runway to check whether she was alive or not. It's almost like she just jumped back while shooting at Owen Shaw's henchmen and disappeared into the darkness for a decade. Then she only returned in Antarctica when Gal Gadot seemingly lost her Wonder Woman role. Things have become really crazy in the Fast Saga. But it's needless to say that out of every death reversal that the Fast franchise has pulled off till now, hers was the easiest. If Han could be brought back after a car explosion, then anybody else could return. But to be fair, Gisele's survival is very easy to address because she only fell on the runway from a fast-moving plane. The same thing happened with Owen Shaw, and most people would argue that he fell with a greater impact. So if anybody was supposed to die because of that, it was him. But the next thing we saw, he was lying in a coma in Furious 7 and was alive. So clearly, Gisele would have survived and only sustained a few injuries from her fall. Hence, how Gisele survived is not the right question to ask. Instead, we should be asking who helped her, where she has been, and why didn't she reunite with Dom and the family until now? In her Fast 10 cameo, it was sort of implied that Gisele had been in contact with Cypher all this time. Some theories even suggest that she could be a sister to Cypher. But if not that, then maybe Cypher was the one who caught up to her. After all, she employed Owen Shaw to get Nightshade in the first place. So she must have had all eyes on Shaw's operation and how it went. But that would unnecessarily make Gisele an accomplice to Cypher's evil plans and the fate of the Furious. So, it's likely that she only came into contact with Cypher after Fast 9. Before that, she could have been saved by a third party like the agency. After all, we've already seen Mr. Nobody fake Han's death and keep him hidden until F9. So, he could have done the same with Gisele even before employing Han. In fact, it is possible that Gisele must have suggested Mr. Nobody to employ Han because she knew the kind of man he was. And she could have made Mr. Nobody recruit Dom and the family as well. We don't know where Mr. Nobody is right now. Even his daughter in Fast 10 didn't know. But if Mr. Nobody was connected with Gisele, then the submarine which she emerged out of might have him on board as well. Besides this theory, I also have another rogue theory that connects with Hobbs and Shaw. We saw how Etion brought Brixton Lore back from the dead and turned him into a superhuman cyborg.
Look at me. I'm Black Superman.
So due to her injuries, Gisele could have been a part of Etion's superhuman experiments too. She might have been under their control, running a few covert missions for them. But after the events of Hobbs and Shaw and F9, Cypher might have rescued her from their control. And now she'd be playing a huge role in Fast 11 as a superhuman. How do you guys like this theory? I still prefer the Mr. Nobody theory.
This is interesting.
But you guys should tell us your choice in the comments. And don't forget to click on those like and subscribe buttons if you enjoyed the video. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one.